Hi guys, Andy here. I'm going to talk to you today about my new Nest thermostat that I had fitted about 10 days ago in my flat. I bought mine from John Lewis, where there are two different options. There's just the thermostat itself, or there's the thermostat and install. I chose the install as well, which was £250. The install itself, I guess, adds about £80, £70 to the price. Now, they also said, well, you can't book your install until at least 7 days because we have to send you the device. I thought, fair enough. But actually, the device turned up, I think, the very next day. No, maybe it was the day after because I ordered it quite late. But yeah, it turned up in the post very quickly. So I had to kind of sit with my device waiting for someone that knows what they're doing to come along and install it. Now, some people have said to me, oh, it's very easy to install, just do it yourself, Andy. But I think they're underestimating my inability for technical things such as this. But what I did think, well, there's no stopping me. Let's open the box up and take a look what's inside before the engineer comes. So I did just that. I did do a quick unboxing for you here. Some information on the outside of the box about how it works, the benefits of it, and all that sort of thing. And then in we go. The thermostat itself. It's very neatly packaged, well presented. But then the people that I think the people that designed Nest were ex-Apple employees, so they perhaps took some of Apple's presentation tips and used them themselves. And there's the box that goes in. I think that goes in next to my boiler. But I know nothing about heating and all of that, so hence why I decided to get a professional in. It seems quite well documented inside though as well. There's the actual base plate that will go on the wall and have the Nest fitted to it. There's some wiring in there. There's some sticky wire holding tabs. I don't know. That's the plate with which the thermostat will sit in, look. As so. We get a bunch of screws. We get the power plug. In fact, if I'm honest, I'm not even sure which that powers, if it's the thermostat or the other unit that goes next to the boiler. Then there's instructions for use. So this first one explains a bit about how the device operates and how you need to set it up and the timeline and things look, because a lot of stuff, it takes time for the thermostat to learn. It's supposed to be a learning thermostat. But then also there's instructions of how to install it as well. I should point out you will need a smartphone to operate it from a phone. You will need a Wi-Fi connection for the device itself to connect to, and that's quite a pain in itself, because obviously there's no keyboard on the Nest. You have to spin the dial around to all the different letters and punch it in. So when you've got quite a complex Wi-Fi password, it takes quite a while. So the install guys, for me, they got here nice and early. I think it was literally 8 or half 8, as early as the early moment they said it could be. They were here. And really, I just left them to it. They asked a few questions of which I couldn't answer. And they said, don't worry, we'll get on with it. And off they went. So they took this unit off initially, but it went back on afterwards. And then here's the one in next to the hot water tank. And basically, they ask you just make sure that it's set that it's always on, because then the thermostat itself will control when it turns it on and off. So even though here it's set to twice on my unit, you might be able to see, it's permanently on. So it worries me a little bit. This is always on. And the guy sort of explained, obviously, like a kettle. If you've got a full kettle and you keep it boiled, and every time you use a bit, you boil it again, it doesn't take much to boil it again, so therefore perhaps it doesn't use much energy. But worries me a little bit. Anyway, we're all installed, and off we go. It detects your motion, so it turns on as you walk near it, and obviously that's how it can detect if you're home or not, and in theory can use the auto away. Now we're going to take a look at the Android app. You effectively see what the Nest looks like, but on your phone. We can change the temperature just simply by sort of sliding our finger around the dial. Now, I don't know if on this occasion, this is the longest it had ever taken for it to update. And I was actually beginning to think, oh, there we go. Beginning to think it wasn't working, but it might just be my internet connection's kind of bogged down a little bit or something, perhaps. But as you can see, you change it on the phone. It takes a little bit of time to kind of sync to the device. And again, that's the first time I've ever seen it change what I've set it to. So I can only assume I was having some connection problems, because that's, I've been using it for 10 days. I've never seen that happen before. In here we have a bit of information that the thermostat tells us, so humidity, for example. I quite like this, so you get energy history. It also gives you bits of information, because obviously it knows the weather outside, based on its internet connection. But you can see when you had the heating turn on and off. Now, this last week, I've been off work, so I've been at home. So I won't lie, I have been, I've been wanting to keep the house quite warm for me. I've turned off auto scheduling. Now, it still has the Saturday and Sunday set up. I'm not sure why that is. It might just be that I need to remove these bits. The problem is, because I work shifts, it can't really learn when I'm home and when I'm not. So I'd rather it didn't try. But you can set it to, if you know, well, I'm going to be home at whatever time, or I'm getting up at whatever time, you can tell it, I want it to be this temperature at this time. And what I like is, it won't just turn the heating on at that time. If I've said, right, I want it to be 19 degrees by 10 a.m., if it's 17 degrees and it knows it takes 50 minutes for it to heat up to that temperature, it will start the heating 50 minutes earlier. So when you get to the time that you asked, it will be the temperature that you asked for. So I quite like that. It does take time, I think, for it to learn how long it takes for you to heat up your house. You can set an away temperature. I would imagine, our flat holds the temperature so well, I can't imagine it ever getting down that low. I suppose if I'm away for a week, it might do. In the actual app, we can tell it what bits we want it to learn. So as you can see, I've turned off auto schedule just because it simply wasn't really working for us. The time to temperature, that's the bit I mentioned about it. It learns how quickly it can heat the house up. And there's other bits and pieces. The sunblock one, so if the thermostat's in direct sunlight, it sort of recognises that and tries to take that into account for what the temperature really is. The engineer told me the thermostat is accurate to 0.2 degrees. And it kind of, I don't know, I think maybe it's just that the hallway stays a bit warmer than the rest of the house. It's kind of insulated by the other rooms, I suppose. Because there are times the thermostat says it's 21 degrees, and I'm in my room thinking, oh, this feels a little bit chilly to me. But it's nice and easy. I can open the app up and tell it turn the heating on. Obviously, you can set to be away. Now, it says it's auto-detects when you're away. I'm not sure I've noticed it doing that just yet. I probably will use if this, then that. So I can set it to say, basically, me and my brother both go out. The last person leaving, if this, then that will automatically switch it to away for us, which would be kind of cool. And then we just turn it on when we're coming home. We just turn the heating back on, basically, before 20 minutes or so beforehand. Other bits of information, so we're going through the app look, bits and pieces here. So also, pretty much anything you can do in the app, you can do on the actual thermostat itself. It's just not quite as easy. Apart from perhaps changing the temperature, that's very easy. To get into the menu, you have to press on the screen. It's not touch screen, but then as you can see, we can set it to away quite easily. You can go into the settings themselves, and pretty much all the options. I don't know how well you can see this on the camera. Changing if it's Fahrenheit or centigrade, the location of this device, language, blah, blah, blah. So let's have a look at the actual technical info of this device, and there's actually a lot of information, including IP addresses, and there's the software version. Look, for me, 4.3.3 right now. We can also see our usage over the last few days. Obviously, it's exactly the same info that we were looking at on the phone. As you saw on the phone, the same thing when we turn the thermostat up, it tells you roughly how long it thinks it's going to take to get to the desired temperature, which I think is kind of cool as well, kind of handy. And you see there until 12:15, so that was one of the schedules I deleted on the app. I filmed the app bit after I filmed this bit. And we can actually see the schedule here. So you'll see there at 12:15, look, it's got a point, so that's why it says until 12:15. So these can be removed and added from the thermostat itself, just not as easy. So, all in all, is it worthwhile? Is it worth? Well, I paid $250 including the install. I'm not sure. In theory, you save that money back in time because your heating is only on when you need it to be on, rather than a set fixed schedule. I'm not sure I'm going to save that money back, but at the same time, I just like having the control, to be honest, knowing that it won't be on when we're not home and knowing that I can turn it on as I set off from work so that it's nice and toasty when I get home. And just the nerd points as well. You've got to score nerd points for having an internet-controlled thermostat, surely. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. My name's Andy. I'll catch you all again soon.